Dear listener, ClockTower is intended for mature audiences and might be inappropriate or possibly triggering to some. Many of the themes and events in ClockTower are inspired by weird fiction as well as similar concepts, which means the show can get dark. If that isn't something you enjoy, please listen at your own discretion. We here at the ClockTower care about you, so please put your mental health first. Our show will be here when you're ready.
Welcome to Season 2 of ClockTower, a D&D 5e experience. To all our old and new listeners, we're excited to have you here with us. ClockTower is a D&D campaign turned audio drama, played with a custom class and a few house rules that we as a group collectively enjoy. If you find yourself getting a little lost, there's always older episodes to guide you back to the path. With all that said, I hope you enjoyed this episode, and welcome to the ClockTower. As Trinket holds up the lantern, its warm and almost ominously bright and powerful light seems to burn whatever illusion was spun by what you can only assume was the same creature that was in the barn, that strange cocooned surface. And as the illusion of sand, of like dunes that are out in this desert, is burned away, it seems to have an underlying supporting web structure that also turns into gray ash and then flakes away into nothing. And within a few, seconds, you're standing looking at sandstone steps that seem to go down into a cave of some kind. And it looks big. The entrance itself is probably like a 15-foot by 15-foot circle going deep.
Well, I guess there goes our riddle. That was unexpected.
It was good to know, though. Keep the thing handy, and we want to worry about this thing hiding a bunch of illusions, throwing us off.
That won't, strip anything off of anything else off, right? You can just, shine it up and just melt the flesh off somebody or something like that?
You guys say while you're all basking in the light. It's kind of warm. That's about it.
Yeah, it seems fine, but I mean, it did kind of fuck things up when we held that eye of the owl to it, so we probably shouldn't hold it up to the owl, I'm thinking.
That makes sense.
We did just disturb an illusion here.
Where's that X going?
Yeah.
Is it still in the same place?
So far away now.
Yeah.
You guys are, it's like, you know where it is, even if it was on a different plane of existence, but part of you doesn't even need to look.
Yeah.
You just feel that the X has not moved from its general position.
Right, yeah.
I mean, it's moved a lot, but not outside of the general area of the ranch.
Well, after you, as I gesture to Trinket to lead the way.
I lead the way.
Okay. As you go down, you see inside here, there are rough carved walls that look like they once might have been from some sort of archaeological dig site, something you might expect to find. But as you keep going down, there are these dried old webs that look very similar to the wet, very fleshy webs that Sam had seen in the sick bay barn the raptor was in. These look older though. They look dried out and weathered. And they look like they're made out of maybe also some sort of organic substance, but they look different enough with different pieces or parts of things, and they're almost smaller. And as you descend down the steps more, you find even finer web patterns and even smaller webs. And then you start noticing some of them, these structures in the webs, look like cocoons that have dried out and almost are gone, but are smaller, almost half the size of the one that Sam had seen. And deeper down, those old cocoons get smaller and smaller and smaller. And then you get to the bottom of the staircase, and in front of you, there is what looks like sort of an entry chamber And off to the side, there's like a slab that looks like it might have been some sort of like altar or something. And there is a weathered, mummified body that looks like it has a sapphire gem in its eye socket where it should be. And they're just like slumped over the altar. Not like they were buried there, but more like they were fucking killed there and left to just dry out in the desert. Any clothes they have like turned to dust and disappeared. There's like some webs around them, but it looks like the wasp, for lack of a better term, came from this place. But this was old enough that it was already unusable by whatever it was, even how small it was. Because like the next cocoon you guys find is like baseball sized. And it's like made out of like tiny little webs of what you think might have been like a bunch of like bugs or rats or something. And then this mummy, for lack of a better term, has been here so long that it was too dry to even be used by the wasp.
My guess is maybe this bug is just a outcome of this thing being down here, and possibly like the radiation we were talking about earlier. Maybe there was just a bug trapped here and it stuck around for too long, this sapphire eye, and just grew out of proportion and is maybe even looking for the other eye, which is probably why it's at the other ranch.
The mummy with the sapphire, like, stone in its head, you guys get that same feeling standing next to this mummy that you get when you stand next to an aspect of the owl. Like, you feel like the clock tower coins in your pockets are burning a hole in your pocket while standing next to this mummy thing.
Do we take it out?
Well, I would at least like to give it some proper rights or something like that. Kind of seems like Sam looks at the altar and where they're placed next to it, like they didn't really meet a great end.
No.
However, I also have, Sam looks really conflicted for a moment, a request.
There's another archway that leads deeper into whatever this place is, but the webs really start to happen around this area.
Seems to me maybe they tried doing the old eye swap and met their end right here, and whatever bug landed on their neck grew out of proportion. That's my guess. I don't know. What do you guys think?
Maybe.
You guys can also do an insight or investigation if you want to try and figure out more information.
I'll roll an investigation.
Can I roll an insight or an arcana to see if I disturbed this? Would it anger anything?
Go for it.
Okay.
Investigation of a 15.
Okay.
Investigation 16.
An arcana of 13.
10.
Trinket, you're like, it's an old body. I don't think it's what we're here for.
That's a corpse.
You guys investigating, looking around, you're like 90% sure if this isn't like somebody took an eye of the owl and tried to like swap out their own eye. This is the owl. This is like a very old, and like I said previously, it feels exactly the same as like standing next to any of the blue-haired aspects of the owl. You see like the small like hairs that are left on mummies are as bright blue, and you get that same feeling of like you could hand a clock tower coin to the owl and ask questions. Like, say, as weird as it is, looking at this mummy, it feels like same as it ever was.
It's worth a shot as I take out a fucking coin.
Okay. Well, you've never encountered something like this before.
Is there an open hand?
I mean, yeah, it has hands.
I'm going to drop the coin into the one hand.
You put the coin in the hand, and the coin disappears, like when the owl takes it and it disappears. And then the mummified corpse of the owl, whatever this thing is, goes like, and then like sits up and like goes, and you see that like any part of it that would like fall off because it's a fucking mummy, there's this like that same sort of like black cosmic space that leaks out of the owl seems to like latch out, grab the arm, like reconnect it, and it sort of pulls itself together as it like whips around, and it has this sort of raspy like voice that is talking at the same time as if there is like some sort of voice coming out of the mummy, but at the exact same time, it's just like the owl talking to you any other time. And you know that the voice that's coming out of this thing is not from that mummy anyway. It's from the owl. And it goes, "Hello, bird. We've met under better circumstances."
I'd say so. Like eyeing down this corpse.
It's like weathered fingers like dip into its eye socket, like someone like might rub their eye almost to emphasize how fucked up this mummy is. And you're like, this is gross. Questions is what happens now. You ask me a question.
What was your aspect doing here?
Helping a ClockTower agent.
Okay.
They hold out their hand.
I'm gonna give it a coin.
Okay. It like turns its head with like a gross crack as it goes, "What can I do for you, Trinket?"
I want to know what your eyes do.
My eyes allow me to see this world and every world I've ever seen or ever will see.
And that's it?
That's it is another question, isn't it?
No, it's a statement. If you didn't, and if that's the case, then you didn't finish answering my question to begin with.
Roll a persuasion check.
14.
It looks at you and it like narrows its one eye that it has that is that same sapphire blue eye as it says, "You asked what my eyes do. I told you. And if you're asking what my eyes can do for other people, then that is a different question, isn't it? It's not the same. And if you're asking what happens to those who do use my eyes, by the way, my eyes, the eyes of the innocent aspects that I momentarily embody, if someone were to, I don't know, use the mummified, fossilized eyeball as though it were some sort of morbid tool, I think that's also a different question. But to say that they all have different results or different answers, I think they would. And primarily, my eyes see things. And if you look through my eyes, maybe you might gain some perspective finally.
So I'm gonna give it another coin. I'm gonna sigh, roll my eyes. So, what happens to a normal person who looks through one of your eyes?
It looks around and then like digs its own mummified eye out of its skull and then like brushes it off on its mummified skin and like blows on it and puts it back in their head. Almost as if a show of just like, I'm a fucking mummy. This is gross. And it says it would really depend on the normal person. I would say generally they might see things they're not supposed to know. And given their interaction or just prolonged exposure, they might also come to learn and be aware of a new perspective, one that they wouldn't be able to unlearn.
I'm going to give him one final coin.
Mm-hmm.
What do you want us to do with your eyes?
The owl recoils as if shocked that you would ask what it wants. And it like narrows almost like a staring at you from underneath its like heavily sunken eyebrows as it says, well, I'd like it back. It doesn't belong to any of you. And who knows what it could do in the wrong hands. And it like slowly creaks its head to stare at Sam.
Sam's like looking at the owl, looking at the owl's arm that has been severed before, looks back at the owl, sees everyone looking at them. What?
And then it like snaps back to Trinket and it goes, and since you thought so kindly of my intentions and my well-being, I offer a little advice. You should be careful of who's studying how to make dangerous weapons in your own clock tower. And if there aren't any more questions, I'm going to let this poor, discarded corpse of what I only assume was an innocent person to rest again.
That sounds good to me.
It fucking falls over, just like...
I think we should bury this body.
Honestly, I feel like Jaeger would actually catch the body.
Okay. It falls apart in your hands. like it's like turning into dusts and fragments of bone.
Okay, I think we should bury this eye. I don't think we should take it with us.
Oh, is there no bones remaining?
The bone, like his skull, like falls down. The eye rolls out of its head.
Okay. Sam was gonna like go over and like kind of push the bits together in a thing, and Sam would like to hold on to some finger bones.
You see,
Sam! Were you not listening just now?
They have never had good intentions. I absolutely agree.
When the owl just shows up one day and murders us all,
Why would they murder all of you?
I'm going to be looking at you. I'm going to be looking at you, Sam.
Well, hopefully it looks at your hip. You have lamp for that.
But we are pause. Everyone pause. Jaeger says on his knees, like in the fucking like covered in fucking like owl dust.
Owl dust.
Pause. Sam is right. The owl is hostile toward some of us. However, I also don't feel it's the best idea to continue to poke at it.
One bone.
We already have one eye.
Yeah, but they do definitely different things.
I don't think the bones do anything.
Should we head back to the clock tower and retrieve the other eye and bury it with it?
Yeah, I think we should.
We can just fast forward to this exact moment with it in our pocket.
Sure.
If we return,
Sam looks visibly annoyed or uncomfortable with this.
I will let you keep a finger bone.
Well, sure. Why not? Fine. I'm fine with this trade. Sorry, Jaeger. I guess you can't try and look for a lily anymore.
I don't think you need the eye to do that. You guys can barely, we can't even fucking touch it. Like, getting it back here is already going to be a whole thing.
That's also true.
It also would provide a lot of insight to what else is going on in the other worlds that we visited.
If you want to try to use it, I don't.
I can start trying doing that. Let Barrett be the sane one. We've all got a thing now.
I guess. That feels like a lot of responsibility for some reason.
You guys like are having this conversation about whether or not to bury the owl's eye while the other one is like rolling on the floor. So like it rolled to a stop somewhere on the floor between Trinket and Sam. And like Trinket, you feel it like it's like watching you still.
Well, yeah.
You're like totally aware that like the owl could totally see you guys right now. It feels like you're having a conversation like, should we put this person's bones to rest in front of them?
Yeah.
Let's here. No bones. Just let's keep the eye for now, and then.
Okay, can we at least bury the second eye?
Absolutely. No, I mean,
agree.
I'm absolutely for interring this person.
All right. Sounds good.
I look at the eye and I'm like, you know where I stand on this.
He collects all the bones and everything else and puts it together into a pile. Make sure he doesn't have any more on himself. And then he stands up and says, I'll be right back. And turns and walks out.
Okay.
I think he's getting a shovel.
Well, I think he'll be fine either way, but just give him a minute.
Oh, yeah. And we'll wait for Jaeger.
Okay. Jaeger, where do you go?
Jaeger heads back to the camp.
All the raptors are still staring at the fire.
I assumed I wasn't gonna assume that they weren't. He goes into his own tent, grabs a blanket. Do I see any like desert flowers?
Sure.
Yeah, I'm gonna pick some of those as well. And as he gets back to the group, he's gonna take the blanket, put the remains into that, put the eye that was on the floor, and try to like use the corner of the blanket to flick it on top of the pile.
Okay. Even while flicking it, you feel for a second a less hostile attitude towards you coming from that eye than you did when you guys were fucking with the eye earlier.
That makes sense.
Almost as if like the owl is cool with you and isn't gonna fucking show you 10 billion terrible visions while you're trying to get it to bury its eye.
And then he takes the desert flowers, puts those on top of the remains, and then binds it together. It says, "All right." Oh, and you would have grabbed a shovel as well when he was there, since we have archaeology equipment. And then just let's find a good place to put this.
Yeah, maybe not in a web.
Yeah,
tomb.
a webbed tomb doesn't feel right.
Do we want to go further in and see if there is a place to bury it?
I was going to put it on like the bluff, so it has like a view.
Actually, no, this is probably safer. If a whole canyon can get blown away and exposed
Yeah,
on a windy day.
We definitely still don't want anyone else to get a hold of
that's
this.
true.
Because then we'll just be right back. So let's bury this where no one's going to find it.
All right, that's fair. We'll leave it here for right now, and we'll come back in.
You guys gonna go
into
deeper
it.
in?
Yes.
Okay. As you go deeper in, it looks like a big empty room, and as soon as Trinket steps into it, the light of Ulm goes deep enough in that it just completely disintegrates another illusion of just nothing happening in this tomb. And you see a couple of things. There are what you can only assume they kind of look like a cross between wasps and ants, but not nearly as grotesque as the one that you saw out there. And they're all like curled up like dead spiders on the ground, like a bunch of them. And they all look like they've come out of this big portal gate that looks like a gate built into the wall. But it looks like it's like on, and it looks like it leads to another world.
Well,
This is interesting.
we haven't found the dad's body yet. Do you think he got pulled in?
Or maybe, I don't know. Maybe that sacrifice of that owl opened something here. I don't know. But since he's not here, he's probably went through.
All right. Well,
I'd like to pick up one of the weird, gross wasp things. Is it like baby size?
It's like dried and is dead, and no, it's small. It's
perfect.
like smaller than a golf ball, small. And there's just a bunch of them. There's like so many.
It's like a fat mosquito hawk kind of size.
Yeah,
Okay.
Can I collect some in like a pouch or a vial or?
Sam, what are you doing?
I think it's research, I assume.
This is why your pockets are weird.
I like my pockets.
No one else does.
Well, no one has to deal with my pockets. I don't ask
Yes,
about
we
your...
do. I still smell the fish on my hand.
That's not technically true, but
In my mind, in my mind's eye, I for some reason I still smell fish.
Barrett, I can say the same thing about your clock tower.
Point taken. All right, that's fine. It's a little bit more refined collector's piece.
Yeah, I
That
can't
is
organize my pockets.
I can organize the tower. Maybe we should work on that. Yeah, as he's like trying to avoid stepping on these icky. bugs.
Sam, when you try to pick one up, it like disintegrates into that same like gray dust ash. The same kind of ash whenever you killed an eldritch creature, by the way.
Oh, well.
Well, I don't really see any other option than going through this portal.
Sir, wait. Do you think we didn't have to kill the monster at all? We should have to close this gate?
Sam, you have like a flashback while looking into this portal. You've seen portals to other dimensions like 2 times now. That's what this is. This is a portal to somewhere else.
Can I see if there's any, like, runes keeping it open?
There definitely are. They're like carved into the stone, and it doesn't look like this thing is closing anytime soon.
Can I copy those runes down?
Yeah.
This thing looks natural. This was definitely deliberate,
It was deliberate. It's not natural.
but
Stable. I think
it's
that's the phrase you're
definitely
using.
stable. We'd have to take down this whole roof to get it closed.
You would have to break one of the runes. If you broke the like runes around the outside circle, it would collapse on itself.
I might be able to fry it, but we should probably see what's on the other side first. Maybe one of us goes through with a rope, or one person stays here and the rest jump through.
Trinket, you should stay here because you can see the mark. And
I'll go.
Do you two want to go through? That way it's buddy system.
well, I'll volunteer, but I feel like you would benefit from going through and seeing what's on the other side, right?
That's actually true. You know what? Actually, and Sam looks to Jaeger. Here we go again.
I don't
Jaeger
trust the
Sam
both of you
show.
guys in there, but
Well, okay. If you need to, whatever reason, you just like points to like one of the main center runes. Just scuff that out. Hit with your axe. It'll close
right.
it.
no, I don't think this is a good idea. I think the person with the mark and the ranged weapon should stay behind for the bug. And I think me and Sam should go in the portal.
If you think so, sure.
You did
no
quite a
argument
number
here.
on that bug without getting anywhere near it, and I don't really want to be.
I mean, to be fair, what I did last time to
Melted.
the bug was kind of because Sam had levitation.
Well, no, I mean, to be fair though, if anyone was going to get this mission done, it would be the two of you. So
Or we could just all go through and turn back the clock,
Yeah.
depending on how it goes.
if we
Let's
can,
just
if we even can,
If
in
we
that.
can, yes. Different world, different time.
Yeah. Wildly, this is one of the things you haven't really encountered before,
Yeah.
Barrett.
Let's do it, Barrett.
All right.
You guys hold it down here. Maybe you can bury the owl while we're gone.
Yeah.
Great.
You guys both try to go through the portal.
Yep.
As you try to go through the portal, like touching it, it feels like you're trying to push against taut plastic. You can't push into it. And you feel your pocket watch get like hot on your side as you try to push through it.
Okay.
And you are almost completely... Sam, you're 100%. You can't go through this portal if you're wearing a pocket watch.
Oh, I don't like that. Ooh, yeah, definitely. Let's just close this thing. We can only go through if we hand off our watches, and I'm not fond of that.
What about the husband?
Then here's what I suggest, and we're not gonna like it. And I don't know how this will even work, but if we take off our watches, tie ropes to our waists, and belay to the two of you, then two tugs mean pull us back.
That's assuming that going through the portal doesn't immediately sever the rope.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't know if it's worth it at that point.
I don't think it's worth it.
I want to help them, not at the cost of losing the two of you.
Trinket, what about that lantern? If you have it on you and you touch the portal.
I mean, if I hold the lantern and touch the portal.
Well, are you going to take your pocket watch off, hold the lantern, and touch the portal?
No, I'm going to see if it just still
So
makes
you
the
try to
pocket
touch
watch
the portal,
hot.
and the lantern seems to get hot the same way that the pocket watch does.
Okay.
But our weapons don't get hot, right?
No.
Interesting.
Well,
As long as we're not one of us is going alone, I'm fine doing this.
Barrett, I do want to give you the information that you are sure of the following information based on just your past experience. You can take off and you already showed at the camp, you can take off your pocket watch, and unless you are actively being like, fuck this, I'm done with it, or like you can't take off your pocket watch with the intention of not wanting to be a ClockTower agent anymore. Because if you do that, you're quitting. But you can, with no hint of I am done in your heart, take off your pocket watch. And like, you know that if you gave Sam your pocket watch, if you went through a portal and then you were able to go back to the portal, you could take it back and still be an agent. It's just, if you die while you're on the other side of that thing, you're done.
and we know that's where the bug just fucking probably came
Well,
from.
you know what this were, obviously where these things came from.
Yeah.
They seem like they're coming out. And in fact, you guys see like one of them crawl in here. Like one of those little wasp things crawl in here. And it's just like, and it like kind of seems to vibrate for a second and they go,
Why do I feel like that's what'll happen to me?
it just dies. You're not sure, but there's one very obvious like piece of investigative information that like there are footprints in here leading into that portal.
Dumb bastard. Goddamn.
Ones that have like collected dust, but not nearly as much dust as they moved out of the way.
I want to go through, personally. But I don't want to go through alone.
Okay.
If you do go through, don't split up. Don't lose each other. Stay close.
Remember, my whole thing's running away.
Yeah, but Barrett has a habit of leaving people sometimes. So
Hey, for the
just putting that out there. Just stay safe.
Well, yeah,
you're
that's
alive, aren't you?
even more of a reason why he won't let me go alone.
Trinket, hold my pocket watch.
Okay.
I want this back.
Do I also have to say that? That was just like the intention of it.
I don't know.
You know what? This is like the table thing. I'm just going to do it. Sam takes off their pocket watch and Reagan's pocket watch
Both of them got hot when you touched the portal, by the way.
and hand them to Jaeger. I need those back, but I trust you to hold on to them, both of them.
I'll be waiting. And Jaeger's gonna put them both in the same pocket as his own personal watch and then connect the chains.
Okay.
Man,
All right,
that's
Sam.
weird.
You hold them both in your hands, Jaeger, and you notice briefly they're both still ticking.
Oh, Jaeger's hands are shaking, and he can't read the watches. His hands are shaking.
Okay, well, that's fine. They are both ticking, though. They're both going.
Well,
Let's do it. Wish us luck.
on 3. 1,
2.
3.
And you guys go through the portal.
Yep.
And to Jaeger and Trinket, you don't know if they'll ever be back. As you two step through the portal, you immediately are hit by like a strange smell that you can hear. All around you, the sky isn't really a sky. It's like a shifting network of almost like tree branches that might be tentacles that are all blending into each other, morphing together, moving around, and like undulating in a really unnatural way. And the light all around here is brought up by these like small little motes that seem like as if you were watching the lifespan of a fairy live and die in like a couple seconds. That just...
Can I check if I'm standing or falling?
It is hard to say. Immediately in front of you, you see that there is 2 guys looking over a cliff who are like looking at this like vastly alien and terrible landscape. And there are these like little tiny like wasp things floating around that occasionally look like they're trying to like fly over to one of them. They just bat them out of the way. Like they don't, it's not a thing. It doesn't matter. And one of them is for sure a ClockTower agent. And the other one looks like a guy in like a white, off-white shirt. Looks like he's been sweating in it very recently. He's got a satchel on. He's got graying hair. And he looks kind of like, from this angle, you can kind of see the side of his face. He looks kind of like Jasper a little bit. And you guys see them, they're like mid-conversation, and he like looks over and is like, it looks like he's been taking a bunch of notes.
Hey, you two.
They both like turn around and like stands, the ClockTower agent stands up, and you see on his hip is a revolver and a short sword. He like narrows his eyes at both of you, and the other one's like, oh, there's more people. How? He's starting to run through some facts in his head that immediately aren't making sense. He's like, how? Wait, did you just come from the same, where did you come from? And like the dude, the agent is like standing like this is a standoff. You don't see a watch on him.
Quick question. How long you think you've been here for?
You're almost sure this is George, so I'm going to say,
yes.
You see George like pushes up his glasses and goes, probably about 2 hours.
It's been a lot longer than that for your family.
He looks, he goes, time dilation?
Nods.
The agent looks like he's looking at both of you, and he says, what are your intentions?
We're just trying to set things right. Back where they were.
Violently?
No, not unless you're a giant fucking bug.
Which one did get out, by the way? That's why we're here.
One what?
Points to one of these little fucking skeeter hawks.
I see.
And it's making quite a mess.
How long has it been exactly?
We should have this conversation on the other side.
Okay, yeah, let's go. And like the agent looks at you and says, on the other side, I'm gonna have to give up who I am. And he is like cold, silent, and calculated, going through all of the options of how to kill you guys while you're in here and whether or not he's gonna stay here. And he looks at Barrett and he goes, you're not here for me.
No.
I'm staying here.
There's better places, but
Not ones where I get to keep who I am.
that's fair, sir. I'll leave you to
We
it.
can, well, if you're sure here, we might have, well, no. That would be a terrible
How
option.
should we leave?
Yes.
Can I go?
It seems like an hour here is days out there, so.
Okay. How long have I been gone?
It's been about 6 months, bud.
Oh my god, I have to get back right now. And he runs. He pushes past you. And in that moment, when he pushes past you and he goes through the portal, you see that the Path of the South guy is like looking at you guys. And that's like the opportunity he could take to shoot you, to like do something. And he like meets your eyes, Barrett. Roll persuasion check with advantage. Just your eyes of like, you don't got to do this, buddy.
12.
He got a natural 1. Is there anything you want to do specifically that Barrett is doing to like, no, don't. Like, don't turn this into a fight. Don't. In fact, since he rolled a natural 1, I'll give you the opportunity to, if you can do something in this moment that I think convinces him, he'll go back with you. He'll listen to whatever reason you have to not stay here in this like place outside of time fuckery.
You'll be who you're meant to be. And if that's here, so be it.
He takes his hand away from like hovering over his gun and he says, you don't have your watches. Let's go before it stays that way.
All right.
Can I get your name?
Not here. Go.
Oh, right.
George already went through.
Yeah.
So, Trinket and Jaeger, hours pass. Nothing happens. Nobody comes through. Nothing's going on.
Jaeger's dug a grave in this small alcove here that they're in. He's put it in like a far corner, away from anything that could possibly be like nearby. He's trying to make sure that it's like as out of the way, underneath a rock. Puts another rock on top of that. He's making sure that nothing is going to disturb this as best he can.
Okay.
And after he does that, which he's been trying to do to like keep himself from thinking about it, then he begins pacing, then stops, sits down, pulls out his gun, removes all the ammo, cleans it, re-racks in on the ammo again, and he's trying to like do something to keep himself from throwing his watches off and running into the portal. So he's
Okay. Trinket, what do you do in the first couple of hours?
Does anything different happen with our pocket watches when they go?
No.
Like it still says we have 3 days or whatever we have left.
Yep. I think it is roughly 3 days that you guys have left.
So, and it takes us like a day and a half to get back to the, and about a day and a half before they get back.
On the 4th day,
Yeah.
they're coming back
So we just have to leave in enough time
to get back
to get back. So
and kill the bug.
yes. So we'll stay as long as we can. But I don't know. I guess I'm gonna like kill the time by squishing bugs.
Okay.
There's a
You
whole
take
lot
the
of
time.
them.
They're all fucking done. Like easy.
Just-
You kind of are starting to think that like one of them got extremely lucky and got like hold of an actual bug from here and ate that and then used that, like turned that into a cocoon and got bigger and then like got a rat and then got bigger.
Well, I think I
And
might have
just-
got a raptor.
And now you think it like traded up until
Yeah.
eventually it got a raptor, and that's what happened. You think that the raptor might have also had gone like into that portal and then come out based on the time of when it just showed up.
Right.
And by the time it got big enough to infect the raptor or do whatever it was going to do to the raptor, it was like already living in here in a little weird giant nest and going out, taking things and coming back. And you figure all that out in a couple of hours. And then starts to be like a worrying amount of hours start passing. So, Jaeger, what are you doing as more hours pass and you don't know if they're coming back?
There hits a point where Jaeger has stopped trying to find other things to do. He's paced the room hundreds of times by now. He's watched as Trinket has crushed bugs and tried to ignore the possibility that something could have gone wrong. And now he's sitting there, legs crossed, staring directly into the portal. But his eyes are starting to like sort of just glaze over.
Hey, it's me, Ellie again. As I said last episode, and I'll say again in the next episode, this is the last arc before we go on hiatus. And the next episode is the last episode of this arc. Whatever that means for our heroes, we'll see how it ends then. I've really enjoyed both recording and editing this arc. It's been a long one, but I hope you enjoyed it too. For now, on to credits. If you would like to work with us or collaborate in any way, contact us through our website, ClockTowerAgent.com. Barrett was played by Bink. Sam was played by Cal. Trinket was played by Kball, Jaeger was played by Trent, and I, Ellinthris, was your DM. The voice of our disclaimer was Valak Donahue. You can check out all of his work at patreon.com/themadlanddreamer. All music from Season 1 of ClockTower made by Who's Music. If you would like your own D&D music commissioned, you can contact them and find all of their work through their website, whosisthis.com, or find it in the description below. Thanks, Who's! Additional music and effects provided by Andrew Smith and Cal. Thank you to our editing team and Cal for making the episodes what they are. Thank you to our sponsor, Alpha Lupine Images, for donating the equipment to help us make more content with better quality. The ClockTower test on our website was programmed by Mike LeMay. You can check out more of his work at thinklikemike.com. And thank you again for listening. ClockTower Season 2, Episode 39 will be out for all of our early episode patrons on August 2nd and will release publicly on August 9th. Till then, time's ticking. See you in the ClockTower.